Hey Internet, it's RJ. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning into the show today. Now today is Sunday, so you know what that means. We're going around the net with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance. And we have another fully loaded docket for you today. Of course, we have the Apple Card in the news again, not only shopping for a new home, but shopping for a new payment processor, potentially payment network. We have a quick update on the Discover Capital One merger. And of course, we have the headline of the week, which is US Bank Smartly Card. We have now word on what those potential changes are looking like, so we will go over that, and I will try not to cry as my beloved card looks like it's going to take it in both kneecaps. So of course, if any of that sounds interesting to you, go ahead, press the subscribe button, and let's get to work. Now, we will lead off with Chase and Lyft. In case you're not aware or haven't heard from all the other YouTube videos, the Sapphire Preferred is in the news because of the 100K offer is back. I'll do a full video on the second channel, Run on the Bank, eventually. I don't have any affiliate links or anything like that, so if you are interested, just for right now, use whoever's link that you like the best and find the least annoying when they're asking you to sign up for the card. But that's not what we're here to talk about. If this entices you a little bit more, well, the Chase Lyft partnership is getting extended, so let's take a look at this because it does primarily play a part of the Sapphire cards. So, specifically, the new benefits started April 1st, and they're going through September of 2027, so we've got a 2 and some change year run. Now, the Sapphire Reserve and the JP Morgan Reserve card members will receive 5x total points when riding with Lyft, plus a new $10 monthly in-app credit. Card members who have already signed up for the 2-year Lyft Pink benefit will continue to have access through the duration of their benefit term. However, card members will not have access to sign up moving forward. So I think Lyft Pink, we've known that's been going away for some time. Now, the Sapphire Preferred card members will continue to receive 5x total points on Lyft rides as well. So it is interesting they're moving down. The Sapphire Reserve used to be 10, now they're doing 5 and 5. If you've got a Freedom card, you're going to get 2% total cash back on Lyft rides. In the Ink lineup, card members will receive 5x total points or 5x cash back, depending on what kind of card setup you have. Of course, this excludes Wait and Save, bike, and scooter rides. Maximum statement credit is up to $120 annually. We got these details from View from the Wing. So there you go. Not too much to report there. Again, I like the Lyft partnership. It gives the cards a little bit more juice if you need them, especially when the Amex seems to have the Uber deal wrapped up. Not too much. It does a little somewhat suck that the Sapphire Reserve's points earnings got cut in half, but I do think that in-app credit will probably be of more use to people. Again, credits and coupons kind of get a bad rap because of what we just saw last week with United and over on Amex side, of course, what we always see. But if it's in-app and you can just easily apply it to your balance, then I think it's fine. You're probably, you'd have to spend quite a bit to, to earn $10 off per month or, for those rides, even at 10x. So credit, probably not terrible. Of course, we'll have to see how it plays out and how it's actually, being used. So with that, if you're not looking for a Chase Sapphire card, maybe you want to know what's going on with Discover and Capital One. Well, when we last touched base with this story, it was a leaked memo that the DOJ was like, hey, I don't know, we have concerns now, which was interesting because at the same time, the Trump family or organization was also suing Capital One for closing a bunch of their accounts and unbanking them, as they said, which we found funny because, that seems like the thing you'd file a CFPB complaint for, even though the bank has the right to close your accounts at any time. So all that to say, how is that looking to play out? Well, Reuters has a new story out, and we take a look at this. We can see it's actually pretty good. So if we go through this, this was April 3rd, Capital One got the green light from the Justice Department for its proposed $35 billion acquisition of Discover. That, of course, came from the New York Times. Basically, everyone is just reporting what everyone else said. The approval came after the DOJ told other regulators looking into the acquisition that it does not see sufficient competition concerns to block the deal. The Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, OCC, and Federal Reserve will review the merger with input from the Department of Justice. So there you go. It is very much, I won't even say back on track. We did find it a little bit surprising last time. I don't think it was ever off track. It didn't sound very good, but, I didn't think it was nothing's really off track until they actually weigh in. They weighed in. They got a few more hurdles to clear, but overall, things seem to be moving slowly, albeit, but moving nonetheless. Now, something that seems like it's been moving very slowly, which is somewhat surprising because it's sort of based in tech land, is the Apple Card. As we all know, Apple and Goldman Sachs, they are breaking up. Goldman Sachs losing a ton of money. They won out. They've been getting rid of their whole consumer, regular people banking side of business for quite some time. And we know, where will the Apple Card land? Will it be Chase? Will it be Synchrony? I think a few others have been in the mix. Of course, Amex at one time was in the mix. Well, it looks like part of the, I don't know if I'd say holdup, but part of the factors here that Apple is weighing is not only who their new issuer is going to be, but who's going to be the new payment network. Of course, your major payment networks being Visa, MasterCard, Discover, and American Express. Discover being tied up in a merger, probably not them. Plus, Discover, I don't believe, is a payment network for anyone else but their own cards and maybe potentially Capital One cards once that happens. But we'll save that for, to see how the merger actually gets approved. And of course, the Apple Card being with MasterCard now, that means you have 3 of the 4 major payment networks trying to win over the Apple Card business. So we got this from Mac Rumors, one of my favorite sites. It says both American Express and Visa are vying to replace MasterCard as Apple's card services provider, while MasterCard is aiming to retain its position. Apple apparently plans to choose a new Apple Card network. I don't think they said that right. Just a new payment network before it selects a partner to replace Goldman Sachs as the Apple Card's issuing bank. And competition is intense. Visa is offering Apple $100 million upfront payment, while American Express is, quote, in the mix, and MasterCard is fiercely trying to retain its role. So that is interesting. I still wouldn't think Apple would care too terribly much as I was just getting more favorable deals and pricing or fee structure from whoever the payment network is. I suppose I can see it playing somewhat of a Amex again is interesting. It's like Amex, they've started becoming supporting other credit cards. I think Cardless has some Amex stuff for the longest time. The Wells Fargo Propel, I know they have some stuff with USAA, but not nearly as much obviously as Visa and MasterCard do. So I would imagine, if they go with Visa, it would make it easier to find a banking partner. Like if it went with American Express, I don't know if just Chase, for example, is like, yes, we would do that. I don't know why they would care, really, why the banking partner would care. But again, if you're American Express, you want the payment network, do they try to roll in some deal with, hey, if you don't want the payment network, you got to take the whole thing. You can't just be our payment network. You might as well be our bank as well. As we've said, American Express really doesn't fit, someone who would want to issue the Apple Card, or someone who we would want to issue the Apple Card, as we've said many times before. I still think Chase should do it. I'd put an outlier on Wells Fargo, but that depends on how their whole dealings with Bilt goes. They were kind of putting a pause on partnerships and everything. So as far as for us, I think people would prefer to be Visa or MasterCard, number one. The American Express not being taken everywhere is, I don't know, it's gotten significantly better. I don't know if that's as big of a concern, especially with a card that you're not going to use internationally, and with a card that really, you're going to use through Apple Pay anyways. And I don't know that it matters what payment network it's on if you're using it through your wallet. I don't know. I could be wrong. Someone let me know down below. So we'll see who the winner is there, and then that will probably give us an inkling into who could be the actual banking partner. So who's going to be in need of some banking help pretty soon is U.S. Bank, because we have what I'm calling rumors, but very credible rumors for now. And the reason I classify it as credible rumors is because this comes to us from our friendly U.S. banker, a friend of the channel, U.S. banker. This person's been right on multiple things that they've told me, so I label it as rumor until it's actually on their website and out there for the public. But this is what we're hearing specifically for the Smartly credit card. So if you don't know, the Smartly credit card, of course, is a card that many of us cashback people have loved and fell in love with, myself included. I think I've talked more about Smartly than probably anybody, I would think. And, so a week or two ago, it came out that bankers were no longer allowed to take in-branch applications for this. This came from the same U.S. Bank friend of the channel that we have, along with the Shield card rumor that turned out to be true the very next week. I say all that to say to qualify it, but take it for what you will. But I'm going to go with it enough to put it on the website. So we now know what the future of Smartly could look like, is likely to look like. And it's not good. So here's what you have. The base 2X would remain unlimited, as we thought. it would. The increased earning rates you get from your category tier, your relationship balance, would be capped at $10,000 in spend per statement cycle. We did think there'd be a cap on it. $10,000 is actually much higher than I thought it was going to be. The 10K, so the 2.5x tier of earnings now starts at $10,000. Originally it was $5,000. The 3x tier is still $50K and the 4x tier is still $100K. The increased earn rates will now exclude educational or school, so think like tuition, gift cards, insurance, taxes, business-to-business transactions, and third-party bill payments. No word on what MCC codes would qualify as what yet. Now, here's the dagger. Only checking account balances will count towards the relationship balance for Smartly. Savings and investment balances would no longer count for new applicants starting April 14th, so coming very soon. Now, it's still believed right now that existing cardholders prior to the April 14th date would be grandfathered into the current Smartly structure, but of course we don't know how long that will last. So, some of that stuff is what we predicted. Now, the rest of this is just speculation and me talking. This is not coming from our friend. Some of this, we thought the 2X would remain the same because it makes perfect sense to have a 2X card. So not surprised there. 10 grand spend cap a quarter, or a billing cycle, say basically a month, actually seems somewhat reasonable. I don't think that's crazy. A few times a year I can spend more than 10 grand on the card. It's not great, I can. So, but not terrible. The real dagger is that relationship balance piece. That's the part that's really going to kill this thing for new card holders going forward. Because we thought that we guessed that they would make it so you had to use the checking and use the savings account, right? But what I thought was they'd make it so you have to do direct deposits or bill pays or something from the checking account, and maybe the savings account had a minimum tier of $10,000 or something. I don't know. I didn't think they would bypass the savings, which is funny because the savings is the only account you're required to have, and say put it in the checking account, which is insane because there's not enough money you could spend at Forex to forego whatever just interest rates you're going to get, even average high yield savings accounts. So that to me definitely is the nail, if you will. It's like I was talking to a friend about this and we talked about it for like an hour. I was like, the scene in the second Matrix at the end where they blow up the Nebuchadnezzar and Morpheus is there. It's like, I have dreamed a dream, but now that dream is gone or it's been taken from me. That's what I feel like, because that is rough. Now, yes, you could say, well, you're grandfathered in, potentially. Sure, but number one, you're going to always be just kind of looking over your shoulder, right? Because they're coming for you. They're not going to let this last forever, probably a year, even though there's no annual fee card, so I'm sure they could go back and change it, and not be that big of a deal, pushback rules, regulation wise. It's usually just, the main ones when you have fees on cards, the bank can't hike those fees or change those fees within the first year. With no fee card, I think it's a little bit more relaxed. But I would also imagine the people who have the card now, because the card's been out since in October, early November, all those people first through the door are also the ones who are probably doing the most damage anyways. So those are going to be people who you probably want to get going originally. I think going forward, sure, you'll get more people who pick up and start doing more and more damage, but the people who are excited, it's like the guys who buy iPhones on release day, right? That kind of thing. Number two is the things that are going to be excluded, right? Like it's basically tuition. I don't know why you'd buy gift cards with this, unless there was like gift card sales maybe. That didn't really seem that big of a deal. Insurance and taxes obviously hurts all of us because that was the dream, right? 4% back on a lot of stuff is cool, but 4% back on taxes to be able to tank those payment processing fees was huge. I paid insurance, car insurance on the Freedom because it was a bonus category, but I did pay property tax on 2 properties with that. It was fantastic, and now that's going to be gone. I don't know what they call in business-to-business transactions. I'm going to guess they're looking at dollar amounts. Like if I went on Google and I bought a Pixel phone, that's going to be $1,200. No, but if I put in my Smartly card to run Google ads, they're going to see the dollar amount, and that'll probably shut it down. That's going to be my guess there. And I don't know what third-party bill payments are. PayPal bill pay probably, or you can't use a credit card for that. Maybe things like plastic, something like that. So overall, It's sad because we thought it would, we know, I don't believe anyone in the community ever thought this was going to last forever. I think we've all been around long enough to know, like, well, that won't last. But never did I think it'd be over in like 6, 8 months. 6 months. I'll say 6 months. I didn't think it'd be over that fast. So it's a gut punch. Like I said, because even if you get grandfathered in, you're still gonna be looking over your shoulder. Last thing I'll say on this, with all the tariff stuff going on, and before you click away and think it's some political thing, but with the tariffs going on, my Smartly balance, the IRA is down to like 88,000. Like I chose to take no action and didn't like lock in gains or anything. I just let it be. So that part's on me, of course, but. Yeah, I was originally, when the first round of tariffs, I was still throwing a few dollars over there. I think I threw like $3,000 over in the savings account to prop it up. Knowing if these changes end up coming true and like it's removing the big ticket items, I'm probably less likely to keep chasing 100,000 until things go back up. People start buying back in, just because that money, now you're talking about taking away money from, large bank promotions. Like ARC is one I'm looking at that's like 10 grand for 500, versus putting 10, 12 over there to prop up my balance. If I can't get 4% on the big ticket items that I wanted, I'm still going to keep it. I mean, we'll do a whole full video on it, of course, when they come out with a final decision and everything. But you better believe this one bummed me out. I guess the best way I can describe it is that Morpheus seems like I dreamed a dream. Now that dream is gone. So sound off down below. I also did a Smartly video on Friday or Thursday. I had that one taped in the queue for a while until we got through the tournament. I was like, you know what? I think it's still good, so I'll push it out there. The whole premise is why I would not stop using my 5X cards alongside Smartly. So it's still a good video. I think it still holds weight, but go check it out. Of course, let me know down below what you think about Smartly. You cashback funds out there, or if your team traveling, you're pointing at us and saying, hey, look, just come earn Hyatt points. Well, I understand your point too. But anyways, that'll do it for this one. So of course, if you liked it, drop me a thumbs up down below. If you found particularly interesting, consider subscribing to the channel, as we're posting content just like this every single week. Of course, right back here every Sunday with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance. And of course, every single day over on ProfitfulContent.com, which is the channel's blog, always linked down below for you, and on the channel homepage. We not only post the latest news stories just like this, we have plenty more bank promotions. You can take some more money from US Bank if you want. And of course, we have credit card offers, so you can replace your Smartly card if you want as well. Always down below for you. Anyways, guys, that'll do for this one. As always, thanks so much for watching. I'll talk to you very soon in the next one.